What's up guys, Zach with Wired Customs. Today I'm going to show you just how easy it can be to have your Flathead Ford Distributor rebuilt. So there is a bunch of different Flathead Ford distributors. There's at least 7 off the top of my head I can think of from here in the States. When we go over to Europe, there's a lot more than that. So some of them take a machine to time. Some of them you can time them actually on your car. These ones right here, you cannot time on your car. So there's 3 different helmet distributors right here in front of me. These are the hardest ones to rebuild. As you can see, it is really hard to get to the internals. These ones have to be timed on a machine. Now with these helmet distributors, they can be very complicated to even wire. So we can see the points are down in there. We have our contacts here. Then the wires clip in here, which are actually pretty difficult to get to clip in if you haven't done them before. Then they have to run through this boot. Then after you get it out of this boot here, you have to run it through the steel conduit that goes up over the heads. And you have to get the actual spark plug wire 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right cylinder at the same time. Well, now thankfully we have a one-stop shop called Vintage Auto Garage. You can send your entire distributor over to them. What they're going to do is rebuild it for you how you like it, either original points or upgrade it to Pertronics. They'll make sure you have the right spark plug wires. They'll wire it into the distributor for you. They'll put it into the looms. They'll repaint your looms. You'll have the whole distributor ready to go, guys. So all you have to do is unbolt the distributor, unbolt the looms, unclip the spark plugs, send it in without even taking anything apart. While they're rebuilding it, you can work on the engine, you can rebuild your carburetor, you can start wiring it up, you can get other things done while this is getting refurbished. They'll ship it back to you with the wires already in the looms with the correct coil, correct points, or Pertronics, and correct wires. You can get your one-stop shop, everything completely done right from Vintage Auto Garage. I got their number below. You can give them a call, get a setup to get your distributor sent in. And I'm going to show you guys just how easy it is. I'm going to take the distributor off of this 39 Ford here. This thing is gorgeous, but it just needs to be updated. We need to make it a little bit more reliable. So I have a lot of things I got to do on it. It's going to be a great peace of mind that I can just take the distributor off, ship it in while I'm getting all this other work done. And when it comes back, it'll be plug and play, guys. So let's knock this out. I'm going to point out a couple key features that you need to know when taking this off and putting it back on. All right, so here's our beautiful 1939 Ford motor here. So we have the looms, we have the plug wires here. We don't even have to take the wires out of the looms. We can ship it just like this. Some of these looms are bolted to the intake. Some of them have a riser like this one off of the heads themselves. Intake bolts are fine. We can break those loose, take the bolts out to get the looms out. The intake has no coolant running through it. It's only a vacuum seal, and it shouldn't have RVT or any type of silicone on it. So you shouldn't be worried about breaking the seal on the intake. The intake should just be a nice graphite gasket. Then the looms for us are bolted on the heads, but they're on the risers. So I will take just the riser bolt out to get the loom off. You guys do not want to take bolts out of the head. The head is sealed, is complicated. The whole process is complicated. You can see it in another video here if you'd like to watch the process. But we do not want to break the seal on the heads. That's a big no-no. And it's a lot of time consuming to repair to fix that. So if we have a stud with a nut over a nut, so there's a nut underneath your riser, and you want to take the riser off that way, as long as you're not breaking the seal or loosening into the actual head nuts, you guys are good to go on that front. So we're going to take these nuts off. We're going to unplug all these. We don't need to number them because Vintage Auto Garage knows which one's which. So we're going to let them do that work while we work on the rest of the car here. I'm not even going to unplug any of my wires from the distributor cap, but what I am going to do is uncap the distributor cap so the cap comes off so we can ship the looms and the cap together without taking any of that apart. So that's pretty simple. Let me pull these off over here on this side. So like I said, there's a lot of different distributors, and it's going to be hard for me to film this in the car. So I'm going to show you there's a couple different style caps as well. This is a crab cap. This is what we typically call a helmet, but it is a 69A. We have a 69B and so forth. So there's a couple different types, but to get these ones off, we have this big wire here. We're going to clip it over this is gonna come out, and this is what you actually want to come off. And these two things will go together with the looms and the wires all still attached. Okay, clip that back on. Then the crab style and the V style, which are very similar when it comes to looks, they're gonna have these steel here. And you can pry this off with a screwdriver most likely. Pop, pop, and the cap itself should come off. This one is a Stromberg unit, so it is brand spanking new, but I just wanted to show you guys when you're trying to struggle underneath the hood in front of the radiator and not hurt anything inside the car, these are the different type of caps you're gonna run into and how to take them off. Now, don't forget to disconnect the coil because we're gonna leave that wire also on the cap. There's that. Very hard to see what I'm doing on video, but I'm gonna pop off those two steel tabs that I showed you on the bench. Okay, the distributor is now disconnected, the cap is. And we can take our looms out. So here's our looms, and here's our cap. My wire's stuck on the fan. There we go. Now, before I take the distributor off, I want to show you what we're looking for. Some distributors have 2 bolts. Some distributors have 3 bolts. Then some of the 3 bolts are in a different location. So here's our 3 bolts. 3 bolt, 3 bolt, different style setup, 2 bolt, different style setup. Even the crabs come in a 3 bolt as well. So when you're fishing down there, trying to get all your bolts out to get the distributor off, keep in mind you might have a different version of one of these where the bolts aren't where you think they are. So now let's take the distributor off so we can send this out and get it rebuilt. Now be careful around our radiator here. I got 1/2 inch deep well, just because it's just far enough off the distributor I can get a good grip on everything without hitting anything or messing anything up. Looks like this is a 2 bolt, so we're gonna take 2 bolts off here. I know it's gonna stick there because it's a sealed surface. Now this shouldn't take much of prying. This is aluminum housing. There we go. Just a little tiny bit. Now that I got this out of here, I'm going to unscrew my coil wire. I probably should have done that before, but let me get a little 7/16 and take that wire off. Whoops, my bad. Forgot something. There we go. And here comes our distributor. Look how small this is. Isn't that funny? Let's take a closer look at this. All right, so there are some key features here we need to talk about when it goes to installing your distributor back on the block. Now for, let's see, 59AB, everything pretty much pre-APA. So this counts for everybody who's not running an APA. So all the early cams, we have a notch. So this goes right into the cam, right into the very face of the cam. And this notch is tapered. One side's smaller, one side's bigger. This sets in very easily. So if it's not going on this way, give it a 180, it should go in very easily. A lot of times, guys will put this in with the notch on the wrong side. They'll eyeball it, yep, there's a notch, there's the notch, and they'll bolt it on and break off this housing. Now there is some old school guys like me who can still weld cast aluminum, but those guys are far and few between, and you could really just ruin the distributor by breaking these cast aluminum housings. So look out for that notch. Here's another one. You can see a solid notch on an early distributor. So this is a tapered solid notch. It may not look like it in the video, guys, but it is. So be very careful when you're bolting these down. Also, this is a oiled surface inside the motor. This is the end of the cam. We're getting our cam oil pressure up behind this, all right? It's not much once it gets to this because the oil is coming from the back of the block to the front. But by the time it gets up here, this is a leaking point. So you guys need to get a new gasket while you're here. There's no need to reuse the old gasket. Some of the old timers will reuse every single thing under the sun. But I'm telling you guys, don't worry about this. Get a brand new gasket. They're very cheap, easy to come by. Order yourself a new gasket. Make sure your flathead doesn't leak somewhere it doesn't need to be, because we all know flathead leaks anyways. All right, so now in order to get this distributor rebuilt, we are going to have to ship it into Vintage Auto Garage. They're going to rebuild it. And like I said, they're going to do everything for us, guys. All you're going to do is bolt it back on and start your car up. So what we need to worry about next is packing this up to get it shipped. Now let's have an honest moment of reflection here. The shipping companies that we all have to use nowadays kind of suck, right? So I'm going to pack this like the shipping companies suck. I'm a little bit of a hoarder, and I keep all the packing materials from other companies when they ship me stuff. So I have a good setup for repackaging this distributor so it's nice and safe. I'm gonna put my little bubble wrap around the actual distributor itself. Okay, I'm gonna actually wrap this up really good. And I have like packing peanuts and all sorts of stuff to pack this up nice. And we can wrap this up, give it a good tape job, or just wrap it up and get it in there. And then I have what's really noisy on camera, so I'll mute this part. And I'm gonna package this as good as I possibly can to completely expect the shipping company to suck. So get this packed up real nice. Like I said, you don't have to take the looms off the distributor because they're gonna ship it back to you with the looms on the distributor. So make sure you have a box where it all fits in there nice and easily and it's not smashed in there, because when you guys get these looms back, they're gonna be painted up nice and looking good. So we wanna give them a good sized box to put it back in there, so when they wrap it up, because they package it real nice, it's not going to get scratched. It's going to be nice and fresh looking when we get it back. Well, there we have it, guys. It's really just that simple. Figure out what type of bolt style you have. Make sure you get the distributor lined up correctly in the notches, and plug and play, guys. It cannot be any easier than that. Worry about something else. We have enough stuff to do, and it'll get timed and ready for you guys to drive. So this is awesome. Speed up the process of getting your car back on the road. So thank you for watching, guys. Make sure you go over to the Vintage Auto Garage website. Let them know that I sent you. And there's a lot of great stuff over there to get your car more reliable. So until next time.